Hello and welcome to my channel, Crochet and Copy. My name is Judy. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make this lovely twisted headband. Came out really nice when we're finished. I also wanted to show you others that I've made. This one, the same type of yarn used with the loops and thread. And I did double this one too with the yarn. You see when we get to the supplies and how we do it. This one, I did not double the yarn. It's a different yarn. And then you see the ability of the yarn also as a stretch when you put it on. So this one, I didn't double the yarn. This one, I didn't double the yarn also when I made this one, and I did less rows. And this was a different kind of yarn too. So just giving you ideas and options and see how it works and which one you like. So I want to show you the measurement of our twisted headband. Before we get started, it's at 19 inches. And of course that's around the circumference. And it's not on your head and stretched, okay? Because it could stretch, and that's how, in order for it to feel nice and stay secure on your head. So this is 19. And then the width, 4 inches, a little less than 4 inches. These are supplies we're going to be using to make our twisted headband. I'll go over them with you. The yarn that we're using is from Loops and Thread. It's the Impeccable. This ball of yarn contains 285 yards. Of course, we don't need all of it to complete our project. The color is Guacamole. It's a medium 4, 100% acrylic. And that's for a ball of yarn. And the hook we're using is the J10. It's the 6.00 millimeter. We're going to be using the yarn needle. And we need a scissors. I also put this in a supply or stitch marker. Really don't need it if you are able to work without it, but I'll show you as we go along and I refer to it why I put this in the supplies. So we need stitch marker. And that's it for supplies. Let's get started. And for this project, we do need to put 2 strands of yarn together in order to complete our project. So what I do, how I use 1 ball of yarn to get 2 strands. If not, you could get another ball and then you could have it separate. What I do is I use, because they have a tail that starts on the top, I use that. And then also I go inside and I pull out and I find the tail from inside and I use that. And that's how I'm going to hold it as our 2 strands of yarn to work together. A word of caution when you're using this method to have 2 strands of yarn coming from 1 ball, don't get all tangled together. To get our hook attached to our yarn, we use what's called a slip knot stitch. This is how I'm comfortable in doing my slip knot stitch. If you have a different method, go ahead and use it. So I'll show you how I do mine. I take the yarn, drape it over my 2 fingers, I let it fall to the back. I take my hook, put it between my 2 fingers, and I pull up a loop of yarn, and there you go. I have a little knot, and I take that little knot and tighten it against my hook. And that's a slip knot stitch. And this will start row 1 for our project. And to start off with, we have to make chain. And a chain is yarn over your hook, pull through, yarn over your hook, pull through, and keep your chain loose as you work. Yarn over your hook, pull through, yarn over your hook, pull through. And that's it to doing a chain. So now we need 56 of our chains, so go ahead and make 56 and then we meet back up. So this is how I look when I did my 56 chain. Now our next step is the second chain from our hook, because this is our first chain and this is our second chain. What we need to do is put 1 half double there. But what I like to do, I like to use the back, with the little bumps you see in the back of our chain. You don't have to do that, but that's what I'm going to do. All right, so a half double crochet is yarn over your hook, and remember the second chain from your hook is this one right here. Go into those little bumps and bars in the back, and then you pull up a loop. You have 3 loops of yarn on your hook. Then you're going to yarn over and you pull across all 3 of them at the same time, and that's your first half double crochet made. And remember, as I said, the stitch marker is just going to refer to it. If you can remember, you don't need to do this, but just put a stitch marker on top of that first half double we made, and then we refer back to it. All right, and for the rest of our remaining chain, all we're going to do is, to get to the end, just put 1 half double. I'm going to show you again how to do the half double. You yarn over your hook, go into that chain, and you're going to pull up a loop, 3 loops of yarn on your hook, yarn over, and you pull straight across. I'll show you one more time. Yarn over your hook, go into that chain, pull up a loop of yarn, 3 loops of yarn on your hook, yarn over, and pull across all 3 of them at the same time. And that's it. And that's how we do a half double crochet. So continue doing that till you get to the end and we meet back up. So this is how we look when I put in 1 half double crochet to the end of our row. And make sure that will be the completion of row 1, that you have 55 stitches. So make sure you count them and you have 55. And here too, I want to let you know, before we move on to row 2, at this point you could adjust your headband. Why I say adjust it? Because you could take off the work what you did right now, because we haven't moved on yet to row 2 and the following rows. So if you want your headband to be larger, of course, when you start it, you're going to add more chain than what we did. And if you wanted to make it smaller, of course, you add less chain. So this is a perfect time for you to adjust it. Now to start row 2, what you're going to do is you're going to chain 1 and turn your work. And when we did that, we're working now on the wrong side of our work. And before we turn it, we're working on the right side of our work. So now for row 2, what we're going to do is we're going to work in the 3rd loop of the half double crochet. And if we were working in doing the regular half double crochet, we'd have went in here, and then this will be the front loop and the back loop in shape like a V or a stitch. And that's where we'd have put a regular half double crochet. But that's not where we're going to go. We're going to go in the 3rd loop of the half double crochet. How it's created makes that. So we're going to turn it a little to the side. Right here, this stitch that's right here on the side, that's where we're going to work through. So of course, to do the half double crochet, you're going to yarn over your hook, as we've been doing, and then you go into that side right there of the stitch, and then complete the regular half double crochet. You know how to do that, because that's what we've been doing. And then here, come back around, refer to it, put a stitch marker on top of that half double crochet. Show you again. So it's like to the side right there, because remember, if you look at it, this is the top where we'd have put our stitch there, but not there. We're going to the side here and just complete that half double crochet right there. And that's considered the 3rd loop of the half double crochet. Just look for it as you go along. When you do it, you see it. And by working with that pattern for putting 1 half double in a 3rd loop, this is how it's looking when you work with it. The right side. This is the wrong side of our work. So just keep on finding the 3rd loop and putting that half double crochet in there. Just go ahead and try it and see how it comes out for you. I know it's something different than what we used to, but just practice and you'll get it. I wanted to show you when we get to the end of our row what to do. remember I told you to put the stitch marker there, and that was the top of our stitch. And if we were doing the regular half double crochet, remember now we're doing the half double crochet in the third loop, so you have to look for it. It's not going to be right here because obviously you saw that's not where we're doing it. We're putting it to the side here. That stitch is right there that we're going to use, that part of the stitch, the third loop, and then you're just going to complete the half double crochet in the third loop only right there. And that's how you finish that row. See, because our stitch marker is still in that. If we were using the regular half double crochet stitch, it's left up there. And that's the completion of row 2. Now to start row 3, all you're going to do is chain your 1 and turn your work. Now what we're going to do for row 3 is we're going to work in the back loop only. And the back loop is, again, when you divide on the top of our stitch, this will be the back loop of our stitch that we're going to work in, because this is considered the front and then the back. So that's where we're going to be working in. So now do the half double in the back loop only, find that back loop, and then just complete the regular half double crochet. So the back loop, find it, it's back here when you divide our stitch, and then you're just going to put the half double. It's just where we put in the half double now, it's where it makes a difference, the back loop only. So that's all you're going to do for row 3 till you get to the end, and then we meet back up. So just 1 half double in the back loop only. So now we made it to the end of row 3 to do. Remember, a stitch marker was on top of that stitch, so this will be our last stitch to do for this row. So we're using the back loop only to do our last half double crochet. And there you go, and that's why that stitch marker comes in handy. It helps us to find it with no problem. And of course, if you need to, you could put back in your stitch marker to help you go along. So that's the completion of row 3. Make sure you have your 55 stitches. Now to start row 4, you're going to chain your 1 and turn your work. So now for row 4, I'm not going to show you because all we're going to do is repeat what we did for row 2. And what we did for row 2 was, remember, we used the third loop of the half double crochet. So I said the half double crochet is unique in itself. We could use that half double right here, the third loop. And moving forward, I'm not going to show you how to do the other rows because all you're doing is repeating what we did for row 2 and row 3. So this is row 4. So what you are going to do is repeat row 2, and then for row 5 you're going to repeat row 3, and so on and so on. So row 6, row 2, and then you're going to go all the way. Keep a track, jot down. That's what I do. I jot down where I'm at. Make sure you keep a count also too of how many stitches you have. You don't lose any or drop one. And we're going to meet back up at row 8. So we made it up to row 8, and with row 8 we did the repeat of the row 2, and row 2 was the half double in the third loop only. So all that's left for us to do now is to fasten off, and to fasten off we're going to chain 1, and that's it. Now what you have to do, since we were working with the 2 strands of yarn, we're going to need only 1 for sewing. So you're going to keep 1 short and 1 long. You decide which one you want to keep long and which one you want to keep short, because you could cut off 1 now, and then the next one, make sure you cut it off about 25 to about 30 inches, and that's what we're going to use for sewing. And that's it. So I went ahead and attached my yarn in and cut off my yarn. This is how we look. That's my small tail, and this is my long tail for sewing, because I'm going to show you how to weave in or tuck in. And this is the wrong side of our work, how to hide the tail, because we're going to start sewing it. And also remember, we have our beginning tail. You're gonna go ahead and do the same thing. I'm just gonna show you how to do this end, and then you go ahead and do the other one. So I'm just going to come to the side, and I'm using the back because this is the front of our work and this is the back of our work. Go on first stitch right there. I want it to be in the back. We're just hiding it as the best as we can so it looks nice and it's out of our way. Just go underneath a couple of stitches. Now I think that's enough. I'm just going to grab my scissors and cut that off, and go ahead and do for the remaining two that we started with. And we're going to fold our ends to form like a C. So you have a C, and then this is the reverse C, because we're going to sew on the wrong side of our work. Make sure you have it on the wrong side, and we're just going to put it into each other, line them up, and then we're going to sew through the 4 layers that we have. So now that we have it, the full parts are together, they're secure and nice in our hands. So we're going to take the tail that we have and make sure we go through the first layer, then the second layer, and third layer, because we're already attached to the 4th layer that our tail is coming from. And I'm going to just use the regular sewing method to go through all our 4 pieces that we have. And that's it. That's all we're going to do. Make sure that when you do it, you go through all your pieces. Okay, so when you do it, you feel it, you see it too. So I think that's good. Feels nice and secure for me. Just gonna give this a knot. And I'm going to hide it because I'm going to cut it off now, the remaining tail that we have. Just going to cut it off, but I don't want it to be showing. So this is how it looks when I'm finished. So now all that's left to do is for us to flip it inside out. And so that's it. It's a quick little project we did. And I think it came out pretty nice. We did great work. Awesome job. That's it. Thank you for watching. Till next time. Bye-bye.